You ever picked up a Frisbee that had a real rad stamp on it and just wondered, I wonder how that came about? Well, you gonna learn today, baby. You gonna learn today.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Today we got a very special episode. We're going to this is going to be the first and hopefully many of a new kind of series that we're doing. Is it titled yet?
We want maybe go with learn us or
Or
you gonna learn today.
I like that.
You gonna learn today.
But anyways, we're kind of showcasing different artists and stuff within the disc golf world. And today, our first guest for that is Ryan Koster from Ripper Studio.
Yes.
What's up, guys?
See,
What's up,
you should have done that one too. How's it going, Ryan?
Doing all right.
That's good to hear. So yeah, before we get started, just go ahead and plug all your stuff if you want to.
Oh man. My illustration company is called Ripper Studios. I do pretty much anything under the sun that's needed, especially in the disc golf world. Disc golf stamps, logos. But other side of that, I'll do stuff for bands, posters, album covers, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, that's my main gig.
Yeah.
It's cool because we've tried to have this happen for a while now. And it didn't happen.
Yeah,
and
this is very true.
And the cool part is Trevor actually introduced me to your work, and we've both been like we on over, and then we've turned Josh onto it, and he told me today, he's like, man, I didn't realize how many discs I had that he's done the artwork for. I'm like, yeah, dude. And I think a lot of people, they might not know who you are. Hopefully they will after this episode. But once they find out, like a lot of them have owned a disc that has your artwork on it.
Yeah. Is that common?
It's getting more common, because I've been doing it I've been creating stamp designs since the end of 2017 or so.
Okay.
So
you're getting more and more people that it's like, oh, you're the guy that did the OTB draw. You're the guy that AGL.
Yep. There's a bunch of stuff that's just kind of amassed over the years, and the rafters of my studio here that I'm in, I've got most of the discs that I've done the designs for. I've hung up.
Yeah.
So they're all on display, and yeah, it's pretty cool to see everything.
We actually, I started following your Instagram page like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And then we had George from Dark Ace on, and he mentioned Ripper Studio. And I was like, oh, yeah, cool. So I was just like looking at different, looking at all the things that he recommended. And one of them was Ripper. And I was like, oh, we already follow this guy. This is that dude that has all those sick fucking designs. And that's kind of how.
Yeah, man. Me and George go way back.
Okay, cool.
So I'm from Michigan originally, and I moved to St. Louis with my wife because she's from here. And then I met George when he moved back to St. Louis from New York, I believe. And we hit it off right away. He was talking about wanting to start a disc golf company centered around heavy music and metal and stuff. And I was like, hey, if you ever need an artist, hit me up, man. So I met him right as he was getting it started.
Yeah. What was that? Was that like 2020?
Oh man, I'm really not sure. I think it might have been a little before.
Okay.
It was something like that. Yeah.
So if you don't mind, tell us how you kind of got like your artistic journey in getting into the disc golf world. Like, how did you get into creating stamp designs?
Did you start designing for disc golf first, or start playing disc golf? Then
so I have been playing disc golf since 2005. One of my best friends in high school, middle school, I've known him forever. His older brother, Steve Hedstrom, who's a big disc golf dude up in Michigan, he got me and him and our other friends from high school into it and got just obsessed really quickly. I had no idea there was tournaments or leagues or anything. And I just kept doing it, and I'd been doing it for so long. And, jumped to 2016, the beginning of 2017, me and my wife decided we were going to move to St. Louis because her dad was having some health issues and we wanted to be closer to her family in case, he got worse. And I was looking for jobs. I'd done stained glass restoration and stuff for like churches and build old custom windows. Was doing that prior. So I was looking for that around here. And Steve, who got me into disc golf, said, "Hey, don't you know that Gateway is located in St. Louis?" And I was like, "Oh, I did not know that." And he's like, "Maybe you could get a job there." And so I got a hold of the owner, Dave, over at Gateway, and I had a few phone conversations with him. And when we moved here, I started working at Gateway as the head of their graphic arts. I was rebranded the entire company to kind of bring it into a more of a modern feel because a lot of the artwork was a little outdated. So I did that. I was there for 2 or 3 years, just doing everything under the sun. I was working with people to get their own stamps made, and I learned how to stamp and all kinds of stuff. And I learned everything you want to know just about Gateway related. And then I left Gateway to be self-employed. But initially the reason that I wanted to get into disc golf stamp design was a particular stamp by Skullboy that he did on some old Axiom theories.
Skullboy's sick.
Yeah.
I'll grab the disc in a little bit. My dog has got me on my lap, and so. But yeah, that I saw that design and I was like, wow, you can get really, really creative and like do really cool art, because it was the first multifoil design that I had seen. Prior to that, I'd only ever seen like stock stamps from Innova and Discraft and the occasional tournament design. But I saw that and I was like, I would love to try to do this. And so, yeah, I had working at Gateway kind of jumpstart me getting into that. And yeah, I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. So like when a manufacturer commissions you to do artwork for them, like, do they let you do your own thing, or do they give you like a general thing, a guideline to go off of? Or
so if it's like a manufacturer, it's rare that sometimes they'll give me ideas that they had, like a lot of like the Infinite guys sometimes will have an idea that they were throwing around the shop. And like I did one not too long ago for they wanted something involving an abominable snowman, something like that. And so she's getting all squirrely on me. I don't know if they've released that one yet, but yeah, I did basically a hairy Yeti snowboarding, like carving some powder on a plank of like tree like bark.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, manufacturers typically will let me do whatever, and I usually try to do something based off of the name of the disc.
Right.
But if it's like your average player, like an MPO player that wants their own fundraiser stamp, they typically will give me concepts and ideas that they want, because I want to make it personal for them. I want them to look at it and be like, "Yep, this represents me." So, yeah.
I was wondering that. Like, I didn't know, because I've got a few of your discs, and like the glitch one, I know you had a story behind it that I had seen on YouTube, and I didn't know if that was something that you had completely come up with the storyline, or if NDP had came to you and was like, "Hey, how about this idea?" and then you ran with it.
Yeah. The idea was basically a military-built robot named Private Glitch that screwed up everything he tried doing.
Yeah.
Everything any task he was given, he would screw it up. And so on the disc, he blew something up major's exploding behind him. So yeah, I initially on the artwork, I had it, say Private Glitch on his chest, but I guess I wasn't allowed to have the name of the disc in the artwork as per the company. Okay. So, but yeah. Sometimes I like to do little stories and stuff behind that.
Yeah, I dig that because that's all I think about when I see that disc now because I've heard the story. So it's cool because I see it and I think that's what I think of. You know what I mean? I think
Are you
that's
guys?
really cool.
Have you seen the other one that I did that year, the Servo?
Maybe.
It's the
Yeah,
space
yeah.
cowboy with the brain.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think we
yeah.
have it loaded
Okay,
up.
so do you guys play video games at all? Are you familiar with Fallout?
Yes.
Gibbs is. Thank you,
Yes.
Gibbs.
So
Spend many hours playing Fallout 4.
the gun that he's using is the sonic emitter from New Vegas.
Ah,
Okay.
I like throwing in little
Yes.
Easter eggs in there.
yeah.
But yeah, I drew the sonic emitter.
I didn't realize that until you just said it. But yeah,
I didn't think
it.
anybody would guess that or notice it unless they were like hardcore Fallout people, which I'm not a hardcore Fallout person. I have played most of the games. I really enjoy them, but yeah, that was kind of I was waiting for somebody to catch it someday.
Have you had anybody?
No.
That's got to be
didn't
kind of
expect
cool
it.
too, though. It's almost like your own personal little, like not necessarily everyone has to know about it. Like as long as it's, it's kind of like I don't know. I think it's cool.
Yeah. A local buddy here, one of my good friends, David Schrag. I did every year for a while. He would do a drunken doubles tournament around St. Patty's Day, and I would do a crescent moon. And I think the first year we did drunk moon, so I did the moon. He was drunk with like PBR cans around him. We did high moon. He's stoned with like a joint in his mouth. We did dab moon, mushroom moon, acid moon.
Acid moon. That's rad.
So like the one with dab moon, I've got like dabs like dripping out of his like craters, but there was one year where within the crater and the moon texture, I hid me and my 4 like core friends names. We had a little group team here called Team Blackout for a while, and I hid all their names in the texture of the moon. So I like occasionally when I can, I like to hide little things.
Yeah.
That's all. So what would you say has been the most rewarding aspect of merging your art with disc golf?
Seeing people out in the wild with them, throwing them.
Yeah.
I bet that is cool.
Or it's really cool if I'll, ever since I started doing work for OTB, seeing my disc designs on Disc Golf Network's like ads.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's like, it's still weird, but it's pretty cool. I sponsored when GK Pro was like early days of doing the skins matches. I sponsored a CTP hole when they were doing the skins match at Jonesboro one year, I think 2018 or something. And Garrett Gerthy had won that CTP, and like my logo and stuff popped up in the corner, and Luke Humphrey said my company name, and I was like, oh man, like I was getting goosebumps.
That's awesome.
So I look back on your Instagram page and know that you made a post about creative droughts. I think it's something everyone can kind of relate to, but like, how do you get over that? Like, how do you combat that? Like
Man, yeah, that's a good question because I get out of them, but it happens for very short periods of time where I get out of those droughts because they're pretty common, especially as I get older. I think initially I like fighting myself with creative droughts because they usually are brought on by me wanting to draw things that I find are stereotypical or overdone.
Yeah.
But I think when I start to let go of that and just it's like, yeah, everyone's drawn a skeleton on a Harley, with flames or whatever, like, but I haven't done that.
Yeah, exactly. Like you'd be able to differentiate yours from the others though. Okay.
And I haven't done it. And I think that, that comes with being confident and having self-esteem of my own style and the way I do things. But yeah, I actually have done that design. It was for Dynamic years and years ago. Um, yeah, they only made like a handful of those, so
Okay.
they might be worth some money. I forgot what disc they're on, but yeah, creative drought is a huge thing. Like, because that also has coincided with burnout.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I had the worst burnout in my life because my wife didn't have a job. She had lost her job at the time, and I was supporting our household just on disc golf design.
Whoa.
And I would work from 8 a.m. till 6, make dinner, and then when she went to bed at like 8 or 9, I was back working from 8 or 9 until sometimes 2 a.m. And I continued that schedule for a good 3-4 years.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I was gonna say that's a lot of grinding.
And with all of that work, I'm only making $25K a year.
Yeah.
So when people go to hire an artist and they're like, wow, that's really expensive. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
if I do a multifoil stamp and I'm charging 400 plus for it and I'm only doing four designs a month, that's just scraping by.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're not in the greatest economy right now. And so doing custom art isn't a necessity. I have my arguments for it being a necessity because I think the cooler the art, the more you can sell.
I believe that.
So sometimes when you skimp on that, you can still have a good product, good design. It's just, but yeah, it's tough. Most of the other folks that do stamp design in the industry right now, most of them have a secondary job that they're doing, and then the disc golf design stuff is on the side. But there are a handful of us like myself that this is all we're doing. I will say I am now not just doing disc golf design though, because back in June, all my clients stopped needing work for some reason or another. So I went into aviation mechanics.
No.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've been working on planes since June, but I was supposed to go back to work like 2-3 weeks ago. I've been on paternity leave, just had my first kid.
Congratulations on that.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, but they laid me off.
No.
Jesus.
I didn't know that they could do that during paternity leave.
So it was paternity leave in a very loose, way, because it's a pretty loose job. I am, it's normal employment and W-2s and all that, but it wasn't any formal, like, this is your paternity leave. I wasn't getting paid for it. We just had me and the wife saved up so that I could have time away from work. But yeah, the weekend before I was supposed to go back, they called me and told me that they were laying me off.
Jesus Christ.
Dickheads.
But I've been doing a bunch of disc designs and other logos and stuff on the side to kind of keep us afloat. And I have prospects of getting a real big boy job at an ad agency here soon.
Okay,
So
cool.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Hopefully that all works out for you.
Yeah, I didn't. So you said that they didn't need any more work. The other disc golf, the manufacturers, or like OTB, or
there was just like a good period towards, and usually there's certain parts of the year where there's a bit of a dip.
Yeah.
Where companies and people don't really need art. And sometimes that's the tail end of summer, in the middle of winter, and then it picks back up coming into spring. But yeah, like, I reached out to everyone that I normally reach out to, and yeah, no one needed anything at that time, and I had to pivot real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they were like, by the way, and then they let you go. What the fuck?
So, but I'm resilient.
You're damn right. You kind of have to be nowadays, huh?
Yeah. You definitely do. Like, I've had so many different types of jobs, but they help me every step of the way. So,
absolutely. Are there specific things you look for inspiration, or do you kind of let it come to you in a more organic way? Like when it comes to the designs, or your artwork in general?
You know, I have a stockpile of images and ideas and aesthetics and stuff that I enjoy in my head. I use Pinterest a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what anybody says about it. Most of the people that talk shit on it don't know and don't ever use it, but you can find amazing, cool artwork to pull in inspirations from there, all kinds of stuff. Like, so I've got folders within my Pinterest account that I have pull from, as far as, you know, drawing references, ideas, fonts, ideas like for lettering and stuff like that. Yeah, but I'm really big into dark, psychedelic, existential type things. David Lynch is one of my favorite artists.
Oh yeah. Just started
Um,
rewatching Twin Peaks a couple weeks ago.
Rest in peace, man.
Yeah. David Lynch.
I just cut my hair. It was literally past my nips. I had been growing out for a really long time, and I went to a gal here in town to get my hair cut. And she's like, "So what do you want to do?" And I showed her a picture of David Lynch during the pandemic when he had grown his hair out.
Yeah.
But it was cut kind of medium length. And I was like, I want the pandemic era David Lynch cut.
Yeah. I loved his little his personalized videos he would shoot of him like "Good morning" or whatever.
Yeah.
Those were fun. He may be the most famous weird guy. His movies are so strange, and they made it to like a lot of, I mean, like what, Lost Highway? I don't know what his, I guess maybe Twin Peaks was like his emergence into like the mainstream, maybe.
Yeah, that pushed him in, you know, kind of into more people's homes and stuff, because it was on, you know, television series on public TV. But Eraserhead was his first full length.
Sure.
They did a documentary handful of years ago all around his artwork called The Art of David Lynch. And 3 years prior to them releasing that, I found a GoFundMe for that documentary, and I threw $50 at it, and they sent me a special edition copy of it and put my name in the credits.
Oh, that's sick.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I'm a pretty big fan.
Do you have any like dream collabs in the disc golf world? Any as far as manufacturers maybe, or?
A lot of the collabs that I would love to do would be for pro players.
Yeah.
Any of them that, you know, like a little weirdness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, you know, I revel in things being surreal and strange and
Sure.
kind of on the darker side. I've worked for a couple, you know, Greg Barsby, great dude. Met him a couple of times. Love that guy. Greg's a great person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one person that I've done a design for.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's a couple other that are on tour. None come to mind, but yeah, I would love to do that.
Maybe like a Nathan Queen too. Be a good.
I have met Nathan a handful of times through Dark Ace.
Yeah.
I've helped Nate with kind of touch up the logo that he was using for a while. I did a design for Hannah Wynn. Yep. That's another pro that I forgot. I did a really cool design for her. I'm really proud of that design. That one was really cool.
Which one is it? Because I've followed her pretty.
Let me see if I can find it.
You're good. Go ahead. It'd be funny if Parker Welk or like Sullivan Tipton's like, "Bro, I need you," and it's a cross.
Yeah, I need you to
Could you do a
twist this up for me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I did that double H logo for her.
That's cool.
And I did a bat for her as well.
Okay.
Like a really, really cool, like nasty, like gnarly bat that they put on some Dark Ace crop tops and some other stuff.
I think I know what you're talking. Our producer, he's actually on the Dark Ace street
Yeah.
team. I think.
Yeah. There's the crop tops right there.
Okay. Cool beans.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that is cool.
Dude, your art is so unique. You can always tell. You can't say that for a lot of different. That's what I really like about your art. One of the things I like about your art, aside from that, Your art's like what it would be if you had like 105 temperature and closed your eyes. That's what you would see.
I like fever dreams, man.
Fever dreams. There you go.
Yeah, dude, it is sick. It's like I said, we've been following you for a couple of years, and I'm a lot of times I'll get on your Instagram and I'll try to go to your merch shop still, because it's still, there's an option there, and I'm just like, come on, throw me some merch. Throw me some merch. I need me a Ripper Studio shirt bad.
So here's the thing about merchandise. I have tried over the years at different times to put stuff out, and it doesn't ever sell.
Yeah.
And so I stopped trying to carry physical merchandise.
Yes.
Because it's just, I don't have the capital for it, and
yeah.
I don't sell it enough to, to keep it on hand. So I usually do stuff through a print on demand company,
mm-hmm.
where you order the shirt, the design, they print it and ship it.
Yeah.
The company that I had been using, though, I've found some issues with their quality. So I am trying to switch over to using a different company. I was asking some question on Reddit about direct-to-garment printing,
mm-hmm.
and this dude was like, "Hey, I don't know," and was chatting with me, and he's like, "I do this, have this one company, and called like myshirt.com or something like that, and it seems like it's just like my other company, just owned by smaller people, and better quality. So I'm gonna start trying to use them and get some new merchandise up on my web store, and just to have it."
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if maybe you could talk to Kevin Fodry. He does the drop ship for their jerseys, right? I wonder if maybe he could point him in the right direction as far as maybe what company he uses.
Theirs are full laminated. I'm not sure about like the DTF or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, Fodry, he seems like he's got his shit together on about everything.
Yeah. DTG, direct to garment. It's basically, big ass like Brother or Epson printer.
Yeah.
And it has a giant placard that comes out of the printer. You throw this shirt on it, it goes in the printer, and it prints on it. But you have to spray a curing spray first down on the shirt and cure that with a heat press, put it in, and then you have to cure it again with the heat press. But I did it because my neighbor owned a print shop for a little while, and I was helping him with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this other company seems real promising, and they're smaller. So I like, if I can work for smaller companies, I will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have any criticisms on stamp design or artwork that manufacturers, or maybe like a specific manufacturer that you're like, God, their artwork always looks like ass, or what's your biggest criticism for stamp design?
So I usually, when it comes to like designs and stuff that I very much dislike, I usually keep that between myself and the homies nearby here, because art is subjective, like I'm gonna like what I'm gonna like, other people are gonna like what they're gonna like. I don't need to air that out and piss somebody off.
Fair. We're trying to be TMZ over here.
No. Yeah. Catch me with my pants down.
Yeah.
Man, is there anything?
Like, I always felt like Innova's stamp game was kind of weak.
Their stock stamps.
Their stock stamp. Well, yeah. I don't know. I kind of like some of their stock stamps, but like as far as design of, like, if it's an eagle, it'll literally just be an eagle,
So, there is that where, every time they're doing like a new kind of stock stamp for the T-Bird or something like that, there's only so many ways that you can draw.
Yeah.
An eagle or a shrike or, any of the, bird kind of designs. But I will say, they typically, for a lot of their stock stamps, it seems like they're using like one or two artists that are trying to keep it all within brand.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very corporate way of doing things. I completely understand it.
Sure.
Trying to keep a consistency, but also trying to keep the designs not crossing any lines, keeping it open for young kids starting all the way to older players. Trying to not offend anybody. That's, if you're a larger company like that, that's kind of what you're going to try to maintain.
Yeah, you want it to appeal to the masses. You want everybody to be all right with it. I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'll work with somebody like Dark Ace, where I drew a picture of, I think it was like a headless dude on a throne of garbage with bodies everywhere. Oh no, it was the Bunker Baby. That's right. I did.
I know that one.
Bunker Baby on a throne of trash with disc golfers beheaded and everything around him. But yeah, if you guys know the story of Bunker Baby.
No, I don't know that.
So there's a local course here in St. Louis called the Bunker. It's at the Jefferson Barracks grounds. It's like military property, but there's a big park there, and they put in a new course called the Bunker. And someone found a terrifying doll, like infant baby doll, out on the course, and someone put it on top of this cement barrier thing in the middle of the course, and people started leaving it offerings.
I love that.
Yeah, just leaving it offerings, whenever they would go out there. And it's just this terrifying baby doll with a bunch of stuff just all over it. And one day it disappeared.
Oh no.
One of the local players got pissed off about it and probably got mad because they thought it was littering and threw it away, and it disappeared. And so George wanted to kind of what's the word, immortalize the Bunker Baby, and started a tournament. And it has one called the Revenge of the Bunker Baby, which I think was the second year and stuff like that. And so yeah, that's how that came about.
Knowing your art and then hearing that story, it makes complete sense that that's the inspiration behind some like that. Actually, that'd be kind of cool if we could maybe pull up some designs and you could maybe go into, if you want, go into detail.
Yeah.
How you kind of came up with the inspiration behind them. Macaulay, if you want to find us something of your choosing. Oh, actually, yeah, maybe you got.
I did see a question earlier. I did not design the Dark Ace, the DA logo.
Okay.
I did not do that one, but I have done a bunch of others.
Yeah.
So that was not mine.
Yeah, I didn't. I think he made the shirts with the Bunker Baby, right? Am I crazy saying that?
That design there I did not do. I forgot who did that design.
I know you have the new for the OTB Champions Cup, which is kind of weird saying OTB Champions Cup.
Yeah, this year they're doing it through the PDGA's event rather than having it be the OTB Open.
You're doing the new that right there, the Proton Soft.
Yep, that's the Proton
Pyro.
Prism Soft Pyros.
I love it too. I mean, that's one of my favorite molds and my absolute favorite plastic. So I'm gonna pre-order one. And what can you go through what brought you to this design?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think the last 2 or 3 years OTB has let me be one of the first artists to pick out of the available molds and stuff, which, man, thank those guys so much. I love everyone at OTB. Greg, Danny, Pirate, those guys are great. But yeah, for this design, I was like, let's go with the soft pyro. I like overstable molds that are in soft plastics.
I do too.
Dump, sit, and stay.
Yep.
But for this design, I was like, I don't see a lot of designs that have, rock and roll, someone jamming on a guitar or bass or something. And so I was like, well, let's do something like that. And I was like, well, I want to incorporate some idea of fire. And I was like, well, let's get weird with it. And I think I was watching something on Shudder or some horror movie. And there was just this flat brimmed hat with candles around the rim or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why don't I have candles coming out of his head? And I was like, I really like this idea. And then I kind of went with the skulls and the candles above it. And then I was like, well, what else could I do in the background to kind of bring it all together? And I was thinking maybe spiral of flames. And then I was like, well, I think my wife my wife Lydia mentioned maybe a volcano exploding, and I started working on that and did like the smoke and stuff. And yeah, it slowly kind of pieced it together, and I'm really, really happy with this design.
Yeah,
Like
it's
he's got the
sick.
third eye there.
Yeah, I like to sneak that in there occasionally. Someone on the MVP made a post sharing all the discs that they're releasing this year for the event, and somebody commented on there, whoever did the pyro design, this is real weird.
And you're probably like,
Hell
And
yeah.
I don't think they meant it in a good way, but I took it.
whatever.
I took it as a huge compliment because
Hell yeah.
I replied and I said, "Thank you very much."
That's awesome.
That's great. Side note, shout out to Shutter.
Yeah, man.
Great
I dig
streaming
me some
service.
Shudder. The other one I dig a lot is called Night Flight.
Night Flight. I don't know
You're not
that.
familiar with Night Flight. So it used to be an old program, I think in the 90s, maybe early 80s, that did a lot of B-movie stuff and a lot of music interviews and music videos. It was kind of like the bad boy version of MTV.
Yeah.
But they came out with their own streaming service called Night Flight Plus, and it's $50 a year or something like that. But there's all kinds of really cool B horror movies and documentaries and like spotlights on old bands like The Cure and Bauhaus.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. But speaking of into people having differing opinions about my artwork, I don't remember the person's name, but every time I do a design for DFX, there's one individual who despises my artwork, and he says it's very divisive.
Really?
Really?
And like borderline satanic kind of.
Okay, maybe satanic, but divisive. What do you mean?
Yeah. So, but like every design I've done for them has not been like, I did one for, I think one of the first ones I did was I was trying to push for doing a series of cryptids. So the Jersey Devil, Yetis, Abominable Snowmans, Michigan Dog Man, whatever. But I did the Jersey Devil as my first one, and they did not like that. They did not like it at all. So he was trying to conjure Baphomet or something.
Yeah, I bet you do get some. I'd say that is some people's criticism, especially
it's rare.
Okay, well that's good. People aren't very outward about it, because we've always talked about that on the show of how like it's where there's a meme about it where it's the two people shaking hands and one of them's like stoners and the other is Christian, like homeschooled Christian kids. So you definitely do have two. That may be the biggest sex.
If you zoom out on that meme, it's just my wife shaking her own hand.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
There's also this.
She grew up homeschooled. Her dad was a pastor.
Yeah.
She is now separated from that, and she likes smoking weed, but she's been pregnant, so she hasn't had it in a long time.
Sure. That's great. Yeah, man. Let's see here. Macaulay's gonna pull up another one here in a little bit.
For sure.
What else?
I want to know, like, whenever you're designing it, and this could be an absolute dumb question, but we're learning today, so I'm gonna say
there are no dumb questions, man.
Yeah, like when you're designing it and you're choosing what colors to use for the foils and stuff. Does the color of the disc, is that something that you get to choose? Like say this one, you said I would like it on green and maybe orange, or is that not an option for you?
Trying to think if there's been a time when I did have an option. I would say no. I've never had the opportunity of being able to pick the color of discs. Occasionally, like for the OTB Open and now the Champions Cup, I will do 4 different foil mock-ups. And then me and Danny will kind of look through images of the mock-ups and kind of, he'll show them some around the guys at the OTB to see which ones they like, and we kind of pick which one we like best. So for this year, we went with this red sparkle and gunmetal gray.
Yeah.
But usually for that event, I have say in foil colors. There are a bunch of other times for like Infinite's VIP subscription box. I've done a bunch of designs for them. They pretty much do whatever. And there's been many time where I'll do a design for somebody, they will choose disc color and foil color, and then they'll send me like a handful of artist proofs, and they'll do like orange foil on an orange disc, or I've had my like the line work is black and it's on a black disc, stuff like that. It's like, and coming from my I'd stamp discs at Gateway.
Yeah.
I do get pretty mad about that. I'm like, who's hiring these stampers? Don't they understand color theory?
Yeah.
But like, I have an art background too, so I can't get too mad. But
sure.
It's like you should think about what you're doing and the colors and contrast and
yeah. Plus, it seems kind of personal because it is your design, so it's like, oh man, don't ruin it,
Yeah, but yeah, I haven't really had an opportunity yet to do a design where I get to choose the foil and the color discs that go on them and stuff. What's that? No,
I was just gonna say, so I guess that's something you have to consider when creating the art for it, is that it can be on any color plastic. So you have to consider what colors to use that would work on multiple colored discs.
Yeah, so this design here that we're looking at, that's why I chose these colors, because Danny had sent me some sample images of the disc colors. Not all of them, I imagine, just some of them. And I was like, well, I think the red, black, and this gray could go well with just about any color. I will say with foil color though, most of the time, this is my own personal pet peeve. So anyone can call me out because I know there's people who like this. I hate green foil. Okay. I think the only time I like green foil is if it's on a white disc. I don't know why. I just have a thing with, because I think green foil is pretty hard to look good on any other colored disc.
I can agree with that. I think I actually don't ever buy any green discs.
This is of course you would bring this design in.
Yes. It's one of my favorites.
Here, I got to show you guys something.
Do it. This may be the first.
Yeah, give me one sec.
Go ahead. Good. This may be the first of his designs I've seen on a disc.
This one,
the Vodum.
Yeah. I think this was probably the first one. This might be the first one that I saw and knew it was him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It was like, oh yeah, that's Ripper Studios. And then the 2023 OTB deflector that's in the Proton Soft. It's the it's like a turtle that has spikes on it and it's got a guitar. It's rad. Yeah, I've got that one. I bought that one, and
my deflector design.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I love that one.
I originally I had it look like a Ninja Turtle, and they thought it was too close to that, so they don't want to mess with any IP lawsuits. Copyright. So I altered it to be different. But so with foil choice and me having control and all that, this was one of the examples. Let's see if we can see this.
Is it?
It's a black disc, and the line work is black.
Okay.
And it's just blue, silver, and then black line work. So you can't see the line work really unless you show it in the right light.
Right.
I was pretty bummed about that. And there was another one where it's part of the one foil is red and it's on a red disc.
Even if just all the colors of it were red on a red disc, like, what did you do?
But that's the one they sent me, was like, why did they do black on black?
Yeah, I could see where you were like, maybe not that color.
So, but I do really like this design, though.
I do too. Can you extrapolate maybe where you got the inspiration for this, or?
Yeah. Let me. So I'll have to. So mainly when I was thinking, like I had said before, I like to pull inspiration from the name of discs.
Yeah.
And when I think of the word of votum, it's like a votum offering. It's a vow, a promise to a deity, kind of thing. Offerings to a temple or some, So that's basically what this design is, kind of this person doing some sort of spiritual conjuring.
So cool.
Yeah, I was telling while you were off. I don't know if you could hear us, but I was telling Trevor, like, I think this was the one that I saw, and it was the first time that I reckon I knew it was your work. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, I know that's River Studios. That has to be River Studios. Like, I've always loved this. I've always loved this.
Trying to think. So typically nowadays, I will throw on my little insignia in the design, and I can't remember where I put this one. But yeah, it's sometimes they're a little hidden, so it's not very blatant. But yeah, I have a little
Easter eggs.
Yeah, I've got a little initials like insignia that I put in there. Not as hidden as Manny Trujillo's little bear. Are you familiar with that?
No.
So Manny, awesome dude. He does a lot of the work for Discmania. He especially the Innova years. But he hides this little teddy bear head design in his designs.
Okay.
Cloudbreaker, this all of those types of designs. The Skyrider and stuff. Yeah, so anyone that was really big into Discmania and stuff would always try to find the bear.
Yeah. I'd say not me going home and going through my Frisbees and trying to find yours and his. And
some of them are pretty tough, man.
I'm gonna be looking at like even Innova molds and being like, where is the hidden meaning? There's got to be something in there.
That is one company that I haven't directly worked with is Innova yet.
But have you worked with Discraft?
No.
Okay.
I've had my art put on Discraft plastic, but it was through somebody. It was either through a player or an event. But I've never worked with Discraft directly. I've never worked with Innova directly. I've worked with DGU, but it was through Rare Air discs.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really cool design. I don't know if you can find that one in there. I call it my eye fly design. And it's basically the whole disc was a giant eyeball with a big old like housefly on it.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
And they put that on Halo plastic.
Yeah.
While he's looking that up, if somebody wanted you to design something for them, like for a tournament or just whatever, how would they go about getting hold of you? Would the Instagram be the best way, or? So
I am very good at communication as best as I can be because there's a lot of people out there that aren't. But I will respond through Facebook Messenger, Instagram, my email. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that picture is sideways, but
okay. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
I've seen a few of your Rare Air stamps, and they're great.
Alex and Damien over at Rare Air are awesome. Those guys are wonderful to work for.
Oh, damn.
We did one. If you want to look up the Cult of Rad on Rare Air, I did this. We were going to do this series where I was going to come up with a series of 4 disc golf based gods.
Okay.
That was that first image was just there in that thumbnail. I just saw it. But speaking of coming up with stories, I came up with this god of flight named Karudai, and each disc came with a COA card explaining where this deity or god is from and what his purpose is. And he's the god of flight, and he is the protector of the veil between the spirit world and earth, kind of thing. He looks really evil, but he's very like a neutral type of god. Yeah, there's that picture that you're on, but when you click on it, it doesn't show up. That's strange. You might need to search on their site. Just search like Cult of Rad or something. That might work. But that one, I love that design. I was really happy with that because I was watching like Hellraiser.
Yeah.
I was watching Hellraiser series when I did this design.
Oh wow!
So there's a lot of changes.
I can see the inspiration there with the change. Yeah.
So in each god, we wanted to be a different animal.
Whoa,
And so this one was an albatross.
the detail.
We were gonna do trying to think of what else. I've done an elk. We're gonna they have a stamp that a lot of the folks that follow Rare Air, like I did a shaman type like elk
Yes.
design. We were gonna bring that back. Yeah, that one. I'm a big fan of that one.
Oh, look at that green. A green foil.
Ooh, dang.
A crystal buzz.
That's sick.
Yeah. I think almost all of that run were buzzes.
Oh man, I need to get one because
Yeah,
I'm a
that's-
buzz thrower.
That is ridiculously cool.
So yeah, we were gonna do Karudai's the God of Flight. We're gonna do Austin Cheetah, and they wanted me to do. Have you ever heard of a frogfish?
Mm-mm.
No, not until
Yeah.
now.
Frogfish, man, they're weird. They're a weird creature. They're very strange looking. But yeah, I was gonna do like a mutant frogfish. But
Are you a fan of when the disc off or when the stamp doesn't really match the disc, or like it's not even disc off related?
no, I'm okay with that. I
Yeah,
should say
yeah.
I don't mind it. I'm
yeah.
totally okay with it. When I started working for Gateway and I was having people wanting me to do designs for events and stuff, they always wanted to have a basket.
Oh yeah.
Always. It's always got to have a basket. I'm like, but it's going on a disc golf disc, so you know that it's for disc.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to have a basket on it.
Yeah. Just put a scorecard on it while you're at it.
Man, this is huge. Like now I don't get too bent up about it, but I used to a lot. It's like you don't need it because a lot of the time I would pitch the design and they're like, hey, can you throw a basket in there somewhere? And I was like, it's not going to make sense.
Did they ever hit you with like, yeah, put a basket in there, like being hit by a disc and it's bent in half?
Yes.
That whole thing. That's a whole trope in itself.
Yes. And what a lot of people don't realize is drawing chains
Yeah.
is very taxing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd imagine.
I did a design for Bomber Disc Golf. I love those guys. Great people. I did a design of a bass fish with scales that were chains.
Ooh, whoa. Yeah, that sounds very technical.
I think I charged him my this was kind of earlier when I was starting. I think maybe 200, 250, which was, for one foil design. And if I would have charged an hourly rate for that design, it'd have been like $800.
Yeah.
Just because it took me so long to draw all of the chains.
Is that hard for you to do? Is coming up with the dollar amount? As far as
because I've been doing it for so long. Initially, yes, it was pretty tough to kind of figure out a fair rate that people were willing to pay that didn't screw me over as well.
Yeah.
So now I have a flat rate for single foil and for multi-foil design. But since losing like a lot of work this past year, I have lowered my prices because a lot of people aren't paying me. My normal clients some are, but some just, it's not in the budget.
Yeah.
So I was like, still need to bring in something. A lot of people would say, don't do that. You're devaluing yourself. And I was like, yes, I am. I totally get it. But I also need to be able to buy groceries.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to eat. That's the thing too. I guess I'm wondering if maybe you're, as far as you not getting as much work could be the downtick in disc golf. It's kind of happened since COVID. Like how are you doing during COVID?
Dude, great.
Yeah.
There was the COVID boom.
Yeah.
For all these companies, new ones starting and popping up everywhere and stuff. A lot of new players. It was great. But then afterwards, companies started feeling the drop off of that.
Of course.
I was not affected by that drop off.
Right.
I was getting very consistent work. I didn't start feeling that pinch until the last summer.
Yeah.
So I didn't think I was going to be touched by it. I was like, well, I think I made it out of that. Like I'm still getting a lot of work. And then all of a sudden it hit. really quick. And I was like, oh, it got me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's a pretty common thing too with with companies in the disc golf world currently.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Like-
And yeah, it's just it peaked so fast and it exploded and now it's just leveling back off. And
Yep.
I don't know if a lot of them mismanaged. I don't know if that's the right word, but like, seemed like they,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if mismanaged is the right thing because maybe they just overstocked. Maybe that's
Right.
The way that I saw it is it's, if you're starting a new business and you don't have a lot of experience, it's really difficult to have proper projections
Mhm.
for, because you're getting all of this business during COVID and the pandemic and everything. It's just like it'd be really tough to project in the
Right.
future. Sometimes you assume that influx of capital is going to continue.
Right, like it's what it's going to be. It kind of distorts. COVID really did, I guess, kind of distort what people thought of how their business was going to grow, and
Yeah,
that's tough.
and if you don't plan for that and assume, you can't assume it's going to stay like that forever.
Right.
I have done work for a handful of companies that I don't think are no longer a thing.
Ugh.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones that I've bought that you designed is the Music City Open for Lone Star.
Okay,
I love that disc, and God, what's happening? I don't even know if they're going to be I don't even know if they'll be in business, if they're even manufacturing discs now. I'm not even sure.
No clue, man. They were one of my biggest clients. I was doing a new design for them like every 2 weeks.
Really?
And then all of a sudden they stopped responding to my emails.
Yeah.
I'd emailed them a couple of times this past fall. Nothing. So I have no clue. But I have seen them put out a couple of new stuff. I don't know if that was stuff that they had done prior to, or what. But yeah, they just outright just stopped.
Yeah, they don't really post much anymore, like they don't.
So,
Yeah.
I think they're a clear example of putting too much in so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Giving away things hand over foot.
Yeah.
Trying to sponsor as many players as they can without giving them too many benefits, and then it just kind of backfired. But we won't know the real story unless you're in the inside. So.
Yeah.
I don't even know if a lot of people, even the inside people, know.
Right.
I mean, we've kind of, we're not inside. I'm not fucking saying that, but we know people that are inside, and I don't think they really even know what happened. Like, nobody's really saying anything about it. They're just like, they're not in. They don't have a team anymore. Like, what do you mean they don't have a fucking team anymore?
I did not know that. That's crazy. Yeah,
I don't think they have anybody. I don't think they have a touring player.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so either.
Yikes.
But Nico's still throwing sacred discs.
Yeah, but he took his molds and his molds, they shipped them back to him, and I'm not sure who's going to be manufacturing them because we all figured they were going to go to Gateway.
Yeah.
But the word is they aren't. Gateway's not manufacturing them, so I don't know. I don't know what'll happen there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Lone Star discs.
Yeah,
that was. I thought it was going to be the most. It was like the most promising new brand.
It blew up.
It blew up so big. People were talking about it a lot. They were throwing a lot of their plastic.
Well, they were throwing a lot of money in it to kind of flood, the market with their product.
Yeah.
And it's like every 2 weeks they were coming out with a new disc.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd read something somewhere that they have the fourth most molds. Like it's like Innova, Discraft, maybe.
Isn't Latitude there?
Yeah, maybe it was Latitude.
Latitude has so many discs that people don't realize that are out of production.
Yeah. I used to throw a lot of Latitude.
I'll occasionally see some really obscure Latitude disc. I'm like, what the heck is it?
They only did it for a year or something. I think I read that somewhere where people were talking about all the discontinued Latitude molds.
I want to say Lone Star, and I'm probably way off, but from like, when did they come out? 2019, 2020? Was it before COVID, or did they come out right in COVID?
It was, I mean, around there.
Okay, well, in that time period to 2024, they got 47 molds approved by PDGA.
Wow,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
It really is. Well, man, I guess that pretty much concludes it. I mean,
yeah.
Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. Tell everybody where they can reach out to you at and support you.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, just Ryan Koster, Koster. Everyone spells it with a C, or assumes. I'm on Instagram. You can just look up Ripper Studios. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Rednote.
Pinterest.
I'm on Mastodon.
Okay. A Shutter account.
There's a lot that I don't use, but I have them because I've had instances where, this is a funny story. When I first was starting Ripper Studios, I was trying to get Ripper Studios as a Facebook page name, and there was one page that had that name on Facebook. And it's this 18-year-old kid from England trying to start a recording studio.
Yeah.
But he had 8 followers, like no equipment or anything. I came up with the name and started this Facebook page. And I messaged him. I was like, hey, I've got this art business, and I was wondering if you'd be willing to give up the name or what it would take. And he's like, what's it worth to you? And I was like, it's not worth enough hassle to try to get bribed by some 17, 18-year-old kid.
That's great.
So anytime I hear a new social media thing is kind of starting to blow up, I try to get on there quick and get Ripper Studios.
Yeah.
There's another kid on YouTube that does some really wacky video game streaming, and his name's Ripper Studios, but he's like super into dinosaurs or something.
You're the best Ripper studio that I know of.
You're the only one we follow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty much any social media thing, is where people can contact me. I'm usually pretty open to doing work for wide range of budgets.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone can pay for a $350 design. So
right. Yeah.
Any other questions?
I think we ran through it. There was one other thing. Like, what's the time frame of, say, somebody wants you to do something? Like, how fast do you push them out?
I will say I'm probably slower than some. I like to take my time with stuff. So I typically like, if someone's going to hire me, I will try to have the design done within 3 weeks.
That's crazy. That's a lot shorter than what I would have guessed. Like,
yeah.
A lot of people will try to, they're like, hey, I need it in a week. It's like, well, I've got to charge you a rush fee then.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I have other clients, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I usually say 3 to 4 weeks is when I can get, close to done. Sometimes it's even that far out to start a design.
Yeah. And I'm sure in certain times you're probably got things lined up for a while too. So I'm not that great with time management. Just my brain is an ADHD scrambled mess. But I manage. I get stuff done, within the time frame that people need it. The biggest thing is I need the people to be upfront with me about deadlines. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because if they're like, oh, I don't have a deadline, I'm like, okay, I'll give it to you in 4 months then.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like my brain. If someone doesn't give me a deadline, I will set a deadline for myself.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, it's hard to not know when something needs to be, like, that's motivation. I think like time is motivation, right? I mean,
I've also had people have to have a design for an event, and they didn't realize how long or when the manufacturer that was stamping them needed the design. It's like that's stuff that you need to look up.
Yeah.
Because like I finished a design, it's like, oh, we can't use it because it's too close to the or whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So
you paying anyway.
Yeah.
I've had people dip out on payment too. So
Of course.
I have a blacklist.
Yeah.
Lone Star.
No, man, if they want to hire me, they just I think they're just kind of, closing in on themselves a little.
Sure.
I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had some people that, I started doing the design, I'm almost done, and they're like, oh, well, we went with somebody else.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
bullshit. Yeah, that's
Or they hired two different people, me and another person. And they basically were like, oh, I like his design better, so we're going to go with him.
Wow, that's dirty.
Like, I'm not Fiverr.
Yeah, I just worked. That was work.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I'm not Fiverr.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna let you go. Once again, thanks for coming on, and this was a good episode. I really appreciate it.
It was cool. We
Yeah,
learned
man,
a lot.
I'll be back anytime. Let me know.
Absolutely,
dude.
we'd love to have you back.
Yeah, I'll get on here and we can talk about, I don't know, chili dogs or something.
We do love chili.
We do love chili
I do
dogs.
look like a man that likes a chili dog. Don't
It's the second most talked about thing on the show, really. We
I?
can talk about your music next time too.
Yeah.
That works too, man. I've been doing it forever.
Shout out your band if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, the band I'm in right now is called Mobile Alien Research Unit.
I'm gonna check them
I
out.
play kind of heavier psychedelic kind of space rock stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then I have a solo project called Stone Hands.
Stone Hands.
And then another one I've been working on called Morley Lights, which is more of a psychedelic post-punk kind of goth stuff.
Whoa.
Man,
So-
I got something to look up.
Is your stuff out there on any streaming service or?
Yeah, there's a handful of some old stuff from Stone Hands on there. Every year, some friends do a Halloween compilation where they do music for Halloween related every year for musicians from Michigan.
Mhm.
And that's one of my favorite things to do every year. So I think for the last 5 years, I've done a Halloween song. So that's Songs of the Pumpkin Boy.
Okay.
That's on Bandcamp and Spotify,
Okay.
whatnot. Mobile Alien Research Unit has a Bandcamp with a bunch of demos and stuff on there. We were going to work on an album soon. I was on, paternity leave with my first kid.
Mhm.
And we're hunting for a new practice space because we got kicked out of ours.
Shit.
Oh,
The city of Ferguson decided to kick us out and put the building up for auction. So, but yeah, we're going to record a new album when we can.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, let's send her off.
all right. See y'all.
See y'all later.